Hi, my name's Eric with Brunswick Firearms Reviews. Today we're going to be talking about the Springfield Hellcat. We're going to be talking about how to break it down, to clean it. We will also be talking about the trigger pull, the length, the reset position for rapid fire. I also have a gauge here that will tell us what the weight of the trigger pull is. I got some snap caps here so we can safely dry fire our gun without damaging the fire mechanisms, firing pin and all that stuff. But let's jump right on in. This is how it comes. Cardboard box from Springfield, front flaps flip open, and there is a little soft carry case that comes with it. Also looks like we've got, this is a 13 round magazine. There should be an 11 round magazine in the firearm as well. Once we open it up, we'll check that out. So it comes with two magazines, an 11 rounder and a 13 rounder. Also comes with a little speed loader here. It also comes with a butt plate for the magazine. If you wanted to remove the extended on either one, you could put this one on, which would make it more compact for carrying. So that's kind of neat that it comes with that. And of course, it's got a cable system lock here, and I've got one here that I'll show you how to use so we don't have to open this one. They do have the manual in here. All the information about loading the gun, unloading it, firing it, how to work it, all that kind of stuff. Some of the stuff that we're going to talk about in this video, like removing the slide barrel, guide rod spring, stuff like that to clean it. It will be in the manual. Also, towards the back of the manual is the warranty information if you ever were to need it. Hopefully you will not, but all that information is there. All right, so I'm gonna slide this box to the side. We're gonna jump right on in. It's a nice, actually nice little carry case. And it looks like, if you look right here, you can put a padlock. You put those two circles together right there, just like that, and you can put a padlock to lock this up in here. So let's open it up, and there we go. The Springfield Hellcat. So first thing we want to do is make sure we are unloaded and safe. There is a safety flag in here. We'll remove that. That is showing that it is being shipped unloaded. However, we do like to check it for ourselves. So the magazine is empty. And again, this is the 11 rounder. And if I pull back out that 13 rounder, you can see the difference. So they both have the extended front side, but the back side is the only one that's extended on the back side is the 13 rounder. So that's how you get your extra 2 in there. So you got an 11 rounder and you got a 13 rounder. All right, so let's remove the safety flag. We're gonna slide it back, put the slide lock in place, remove it, look, feel, so we are good to go. So first thing that I noticed with this firearm is it is a little stiff to rack. It's not extremely hard, but if you were to have arthritis or maybe some issues or with your hand or something, you might have a little difficulty with the slide because it is a little stiff on it. The sights on it, this one has the rear U sight and the front night sight. So should be pretty easy at sighting this thing. I do like the U sight on the rear. Some people don't, I do. There is serrations on the front and the back here, which helps with that grip. We do have a trigger safety blade here. This particular model here does not have the safeties on it, but it does have the trigger blade safety. So in other words, this little blade right here sticking out in the center of the trigger, so apparently if this trigger should not pull back unless that trigger blade safety is pulled in. You see that very common on a lot of guns now, especially Glocks. So the texture on the firearm itself, on the grips, it's not too bad. They could actually be a little bit more aggressive. They're not that aggressive at all. Although with that being said, it is still pretty, there is a pretty good grip there, a little good texture. I just wish it was a little bit more. And our magazine release is on the left-hand side of the firearm. So basically you would just press that in and the magazine can be released. It does have also for your trigger finger when you're not shooting it, it does have a resting point. I don't know if you can see it right there. It's kind of neat there. It's on both sides, on the left side and the right side. But let's go ahead we're going to go ahead and break the gun down, and then we'll go back to the trigger pull length and the reset and the weight of that trigger pull. So these are designed fairly easy to break down. Again, you would want to remove your magazine. You would want to slide back, put the slide lock in place. Slide lock is right here on the left-hand side. In front of the slide lock, so there's a slide lock. Up here is how you would break it down. This lever, a lot of them, they turn downwards. On the Hellcat, it is opposite. It actually goes upwards. So basically you would take this, see if I can do it on the camera. So I slid it around. You can see it now facing upwards. Now you can take your slide release. You do have to dry fire this gun to remove the slide. So we're going to dry fire it, and the slide should come right off just like that. It is pretty dry. It is actually pretty bone dry. So be sure you check that out. You do want to lubricate it up. Like I said, this is very dry. Probably drier than I normally would see. But anyway, so make sure you lube your gun up. So the next thing you want to do to remove the barrel for your cleaning your field strip here is, this is the guide rod and spring. Basically it is under tension, so you're going to press it forward and then it pops up and out just like that. Remember, the back end is thinner than and there's a bigger spring on the front side. The bigger part is the one that goes towards the front of the barrel. So remember that when you're putting this back together. Now to remove the barrel, let's see. So you just you got to kind of wiggle it up, and it'll come out about a 45-degree angle like that. And that's how you would remove it. Then you can get in, you can clean the guide rod, the spring inside of the barrel really good. The barrels are 3 inches on these guys. The twist in them is a 1 in 10 twist, which is pretty good for a small compact gun. But that's how you would field strip this gun. Of course, you can get down and you can clean all down in the magazine well and all that stuff. Again, also, this is the Hellcat is striker fire, so just so you know. All right, so to put this guy back together, we got our slide upwards. So this is upright. We're going to flip it over upside down just like that. This is the front of the barrel. So you would take the front of the barrel and make sure these guys here are upwards, just like you have the openness upwards. So then you're just going to kind of slide it back in at a 45. It'll slide down and then press it back just like that. It'll seat right in there. Now, if you look on this barrel, right here is a little notch. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. It's kind of notched out right here. This guide rod, this round part is going to sit down in that notched area, okay? So let's go ahead and drop the barrel back down. Put the guide rod and spring back in. Bigger spring goes towards the front of the barrel. Again, it's going to go right in this little hole right here. So we're going to place it in there. We're going to press forward, and then that guide rod will sit down in that little slotted area where I showed you. It should sit down pretty nicely there. So then we have it back together. That guide rod and spring will keep that barrel in place so we can turn it back upright. Next thing we're going to do, take our firearm, and basically you can see these tabs right here, and then you can see grooves notched out right here all the way down. See if you can see it on the camera. There's a groove that runs out on both sides. Right here you can see where those grooves begin. So those tabs are going to go right in to those areas just like that. We're going to slide it back. Again, we still have the breakdown here turned upwards, so it's gonna turn downwards, front and down. So it's kind of opposite from the rest of them. So let's see if we can do it. I'm going to slide it back, put the slide lock in place just like that, and then we're going to take this, see if I can do it backwards here because I'm on camera. We're just going to turn it. You can see now it's facing forward. Release the slide, and we're going to dry fire, and she's working. All right, let's test out the trigger pull length, the reset position for rapid fire. See how it is there. We're going to load this up here with some snap caps, It is not, they say with the newer guns it's not as bad to dry fire. I don't know. I wouldn't be dry firing my gun a lot without the snap caps. So I'm going to load some snap caps up in here. And these are designed to take all the momentum of that firing pin when it's coming forward. And there's a little spring inside of these. I know you can't see it, but you can see where the firing pin would strike it here, and that spring would absorb that momentum. So that's how these work. So let's go ahead and load it up. The spring in these magazines they're not too bad. Some of these, now I know as you get down to the bottom, it will get harder to load. The spring will they'll get more tension on that spring as it gets compressed, so it makes it harder. That's where the speed loader comes into play. Basically, you would put it on just like this, and then you would press it down, drop your bullet in, and then release, and then finish seating the bullet down. So that's how that would work. So we got 4 in here. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna rack it and get 1 in the chamber. So we have 1 in the chamber. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull the trigger. We're gonna see how long this trigger pull is, and then we'll do the reset following it. So here we go. I'm gonna try to put it close to the camera here so you can kind of hear when it clicks, and here we go. So the trigger pull it's not extremely short. It's fairly short. Actually not bad at all. Let's see what the reset position is. As you can see, I still have the trigger pulled in. That's so we can test a reset for a second fire for the rapid fire. So here we go. We got to rack it again. We'll get that snap cap out of the chamber. Now I'm going to slowly release the trigger to see how long it takes to hit the reset position so we can get the second shot off. So here we go. So the reset, I wish it was a little shorter, but it's not bad at all. Again, so the trigger pull itself, it's kind of short, not real short, but the reset could be a little bit shorter in my opinion. But let's go ahead and I'm going to load up another one here. Now, this tool is made by Wheeler, and what it's going to do is this little area right here, which is the sensor, we're going to put it on the trigger, and then we're going to pull down, and then it'll tell us what the trigger pull weight is on these firearms. Now, as you know in previous videos with these, I do like to have the gauge. When I put it on the trigger, I kind of like it to have it in mid or just slightly above mid. Again, this one, the reason why is because I seem to get a better reading with that, a more accurate reading. Now, that could be this brand, it could be this unit, I don't know, but it just seems to be more accurate when I place this sensor slightly above mid length of the trigger. In this case, we do have the trigger blade safety, so we do have to have it far enough down to press that in so we can pull the trigger. So let's go ahead, let me clear. All right, so basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the gauge on. It's a little small, you can tell it's pretty small trigger guard area here, so they don't have a lot of room. So let's go ahead and pull. All right, looks like we have right around 5.2 pounds on that one. I like to get a second reading, and then I'll take the average of the two to give me a more consistent reading or more accurate reading. So let's go ahead and delete that. All right, so here we go. Got the same on that one, 5.2. That's the first time I had exactly the same reading, 5.2, 5.2. So this one here is 5.2 pounds. Now, if you read up on these guys, you can tell, or you can read from the factory, these guns sometimes vary with the trigger weight. The pull range from 5 to 7 pounds. This one here is actually on closer to the 5, so 5.2, and that was back-to-back readings exactly the same. So that's pretty good to have a consistent reading like that. Of course, the more like I just said, that this one read exactly the same, 5.2. First time it's ever happened. Usually it'll read like 5.2, 5.5, 5.6, just slightly off. And the closer those numbers are, the more consistent that trigger pull is that way. But overall, it's a sweet gun. There is a rail on the front side here, on the frame, bottom side front of the frame below the barrel, so you can put a laser or a flashlight. This particular model here is not optic ready, so there is not a cutout here. However, you can get this model in optic ready, OSP, so you can put a red dot on there. But overall, it's a nice gun. It feels really good in my hand. A perfect size, in my opinion, to carry. It's not too small. With the extended front finger placement on the mag, really helps with that comfort. I can get all fingers on the grip. And of course, if you were to put the 13 rounder in there, you would have the extended rear side of it too for the heel of your palm for more control as well if you're at the range. So the last thing I want to kind of go over is, let's show you how, let's get that last one out there. Show you how to use the cable system lock. Basically, it's very simple. Pop out the magazine, turn the key, pull one side out just like that. And then this will drop down through the magazine well. And then of course you could put the cable back in and lock it up, and that prevents this firearm from being used or fired. So that's how that works, very simple. But overall, I really like this gun. The only thing that I see is the slide to pull back to rack the gun. It is stiff. It's a little bit on the stiff side. It's not horrible. Don't take me wrong. It's not crazy horrible. But it is a little stiff, and I'm sure over time firing this gun, a couple hundred rounds, that's going to loosen up some. But yeah, overall, great gun. I hope you got some information out of this video. As always, if you did get some information out of this video or appreciated the video, please show your appreciation by subscribing to our channel so you can catch future reviews right here on Brunswick Firearms Reviews.